Stellar Crew. I'm David Wyrick. This is Alex.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Alex Ostojic, and today we have two guests. We have Travis and Rebecca.
Hey everybody, how you doing?
Hey, do you guys want to introduce yourselves? Tell us what you do a little bit.
I'm Travis Anderson, the owner of Self Gen, which is a door-to-door knocking company. And this is Rebecca. She's the co-owner.
Hello.
Okay, so thank you guys for coming on. They're kind of a surprise guests today. We actually had another guest. She had some other stuff come up. You know how it is with small business, with entrepreneurs. You have things that just pop up sometimes, and you have to get that stuff taken care of. Or you have days that are just planned, you know, every week for one certain thing. So she'll be on. It'll probably be another month. We'll give her time, but I called Travis this morning. They're becoming pretty good friends of mine. And said, Travis, hey, you know, you want to hop on the podcast, talk about your business a little bit, talk about how you got started. And so once again, he owns Self Gen. He does solar sales and things like that. Like he said, he goes door to door. So Travis, how did you start to become an entrepreneur? What kind of gave you that mindset of like, hey, I don't want to go work an hourly job for somebody else. I want to do something for myself. What got you kind of into that?
Well, it was just basically that thought right there. I didn't want to work hourly anymore. I saw someone getting paid off my hard work, and it, you know, lit up a light bulb in my head, and I said, if she's doing it, I do the swim lessons, and I do my swim lessons better than she does her swim lessons. I'm pretty sure I can get paid to do the same thing. So I just posted an ad online for private swim lessons, and I got my first client within a week, I think.
How old were you?
22, 23, I think.
Where was this at?
This was in Phoenix, Arizona. I was actually just newly married. I married a woman that already had a child, and I had a child. They were both around the same age. And then we had our first child together shortly after that. So I was in the process of like trying to figure out how I was going to provide for a family.
It's a scary place to be in.
Scary place to be. And I had got tired of always like working for someone else, waiting for a paycheck, you know. And I guess the epiphany that I had was when I saw the lady get paid for swim lessons, and I was sitting there, you know, with this client's kid in my arms, you know, and I was thinking like, my check is, or I think there was an issue, my check was supposed to be short that week or something, and I was like, I can do this. I can figure out a way to do this, and so I did. Craigslist was pretty much my marketing platform back then, and so that's what I did. I got on Craigslist.
Yeah, Craigslist.
I started posting, you know, private swim lessons. I made up a name. I called it Deep Blue Swim was the name of the company, and I poached a couple clients from the swim lessons that I had, you know, at that company, but. You know, all in all, I got my business started, and the first time I received a check, me and my ex-wife looked at each other and was like, okay, this works.
This could
could work.
You know, that first check it really is a big deal.
Oh,
when you
yes.
start your own business and you're trying to man, like, is this gonna work? Is this gonna work? It doesn't matter how much it is. It could be $10.
Yeah.
But like when you get that first check and you're like, oh my God, like I did this.
Yeah.
I didn't go work for somebody else and then be like, hey, here's your cut. Like, this is mine.
Right.
Dude, speaking of small checks, my first check for the financial services business was $54.46. And I was so happy because, you know, 2 months of licensing, studying, all that stuff. And then you put in like a policy or something like that, and it takes it a month to get approved. So it was like 2 months of
Right.
work,
All that
no
way.
pay. And then $54.46, man, I was so fired up.
Yeah.
So why not go to a job and just do a steady pay? You know what? People get jobs because they want a steady paycheck. So
Yeah.
you saw completely opposite of that. You
Yeah.
saw, hey, I make a little chump change while she makes a lot of money, and I do all the work.
Mm-hmm.
So why not just stick there for a steady paycheck?
Pride. You know, having 3 kids, a newer wife. My wife was working; she had a steady job, so we didn't have to worry about money all, you know, that much. But I had to do something to bring in money, and the 9-to-5 jobs. I'm just not a 9-to-5 person. I'm sorry. Working for other people and people having authority over me, that doesn't work real well with me either. So when I see something that I can do and I feel like I can do it better, and there's no point in me trying to talk to the person who owns the business and help them improve their business unless I am gonna get, some kind of,
Yeah, 'cause
payoff.
you wanna build something for yourself.
Right,
Not
and
just
so-
for somebody else.
And not only that, but I've been in a lot of positions where I try to give someone some advice on something they should do, and it backfires. Or they think that they can do it better, or they don't really appreciate, the opinion anyways. So, if I can do it better myself, I'll just do it myself. And
You
so that's
know,
what I did.
a lot of old companies, like, like steel mills, we always talk about like production companies and stuff like that. We believe that they're kinda not going out of business, but they're getting like old,
Mhm.
is because those companies don't really appreciate the opinion of the workers.
Mhm.
Like the new entrepreneurs, like you look at, like Ed Milet, Grant Cardone, all these big guys, what they do is, number one thing is they take everybody's opinion and then they look at it, because sometimes just because somebody doesn't have a, college degree or they're not at that level,
Right.
it doesn't mean they don't have a good idea.
Mhm.
So that's why there's a lot of businesses that break off from the actual, original businesses, is because you're kind of trying to pour into this business, they're not taking, your advice, they don't really care what you say.
Right.
So you're like, you know what, screw this, I'm doing this anyways, might as well do it for myself, so new businesses get born.
Well, you watch businesses,
So-
Yeah.
die, because they're afraid of change, and
Or
that's why,
evolving.
and you see that so many times, like, you see, businesses split, you see churches split, you see families split, because people don't listen to each other. Instead, they're like, well, you know what, I'll just go do it myself, because most of the time it's a communication thing, because like you said, there's been times, I own a construction company, there's been times that, obviously if I'm there, I'm generally, the smartest person in the room,
Mhm.
in my construction. If not, like, I've brought somebody there that's smarter than me, because there's tons of people out there that are
Mhm.
smarter than me. But if it's just me and people that I'm paying to help me, generally I'm the smartest person in the room.
Mhm.
And it's just a lot of problem solving. But there have been times where I've been just like staring at stuff. My helper will walk up and be like, hey, why don't you try this? And I just like look at him, and then sometimes in my mind I'm like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. But I'm out of ideas.
Mhm.
So I try it and it works.
Mhm.
Because I listened.
Yeah.
And so like there has to be in all relationships that give and take of, hey, why don't you try this? Even if you think it's dumb, if everything you're trying isn't working, guess what? Your ideas were dumb too, because they didn't work. So you might as well take what somebody else has and, see what you can do with it. Because sometimes those people will make you a lot of money, and they didn't leave to go start their own business.
Right.
Yeah.
They didn't go poach swimming clients.
There you go.
Still the clients from the original company.
And small business is cutthroat though. You know
Yeah.
that like I know that.
Yeah.
Like small business is
Well,
cutthroat.
she did try to sue me actually. She said she sent what do they call it, a non-compete, cease and desist non-compete. Yeah.
Okay. So where did you go after the swim lessons, or where did you get into it after that?
Ooh, I actually went back to the city after that, and I was a pool manager. I was a pool manager and a lifeguard instructor for like 5 or 6 years for the city of Phoenix.
Okay.
So, and I was a regional, so I was over like 3 different pools, and I did that for a while, and then I went to the YMCA for a while, and I was an aquatics director there for a long time. When I got back into entrepreneurship was after my stint as a property manager. I was doing property management for a company called VIP in Phoenix, and I was overseeing like 20 different properties. And I was just stressed to the gills. And a friend of mine, her name was actually Rebecca. I had worked with her at another property management company, and she was moving to Colorado, and she had a job with an investor who was a private investor that was just about to start doing flips, and he needed someone to oversee his portfolio of rentals, and he had like 46 rentals. So he came and he met me and said, hey, this is what I'm doing. I need someone to handle my portfolio and do property management. And this goes into something that you were just talking about before we started the podcast, but I wasn't really ready for the big jump that was about to happen. I didn't know what was about to happen, but he hired me as his property manager, and I started overseeing his properties. he was just getting into residential flips, and he said, "Have you ever done a flip before?" And I said, "I haven't done a flip. I haven't run a flip, but I've managed some projects before for the other property management companies." So I was like, managing projects is basically, going, making sure, the contractor is there every day,
Mhm.
things are getting installed, the timelines.
Everything's getting done
Everything's
on time.
Right, everything's getting done on time and they're following the budget.
And if it's
basically.
not, then why?
Right, exactly. And then I would take pictures of all the projects, come back, show them, give them an update on all the projects. Well, then one day he said, "Hey, would you like to manage a project from front to back?" And I said, "I'm sure." And he was like,
You
"Well,
just dove in? You just went ahead and said, hey, let's do it?
yeah, well, here's the thing." He said, "So here's the thing, I need you to manage it from front to back and still continue to do the property management."
Ah.
And I said, "Okay, yeah, sure, I can do that." And he said, "Okay, well, go and give me a bid on this house." He gave me an address. He said, "Give me a bid on how much it's gonna take to flip this house." And I hadn't done, a big flip.
There's a
before.
lot to it.
Yeah,
So
and there
much
was no
to
way
it.
that I was able to do that. So I went to the house and it was a burn down. And it had just got passed through the city of Phoenix to start work on it and everything. So he wanted me to, do a bid. And so I called in every contractor that I knew and walked through. And finally, I got a bid of $55,000 from front to back. And he cut me a check for $25,000, like that,
Like for half, to
For
get
half.
started.
to get started. And I was like, "Holy Moses,
What did I get into?
what did I get into?"
Yeah, there's a
'Cause-
lot
and
to
I
it.
didn't even have a business bank account at the time. I didn't have an LLC. I didn't have anything. And so, here I go. I deposited a $25,000 check into my personal bank account, and I was using a personal bank account for business transactions for like 6 months before I finally got an LLC. And after I finally got all that,
There's a
I
lot
was
to
a-
learn. There's a lot to learn when it comes
There
to
is.
having a business.
Right.
We gotta
So-
start like that, man. You gotta start somewhere. So it is what it is.
right, and the first project I did really well. I came under budget. He gave me a bonus, and I got my 18% on top of it, which was a huge paycheck for me. Okay, because it was, I think that we spent 40,000. I got an 18% on top of the 40,000 because that was the total price of the project, and then he gave me a bonus of 6,000 for coming under budget. And then the
Wow.
house was sold under 30 days, so he was super happy. First one was just amazing, but to be fair, the market was just super hot at the time.
What year was
So
that?
oh God, this is
A long time ago.
no, this is I want to say
Before or after 08?
after '08. This is gonna be maybe 2015, 2016.
Doesn't seem like 2015 should be that far away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate to think that it's almost 8 years ago now. Oh my
Yes, there
gosh!
you go.
Like,
Okay.
man, I tell you what, the people don't believe it, but as you like get older, like, my daughter was talking about learning about, sadly, like 2001, back in. I was
Mhm.
like, oh my gosh, like, because I was there for that, and so
Mhm.
not to change the subject,
Yeah.
but like, it's crazy when you start trying to remember how long ago was that? Oh, that was just 2015, and you're like, oh my God, 2015 was 7 years ago.
7 years.
Time is
Yeah.
just like when you become an entrepreneur, and you have a family,
Oh, man.
like. I don't even know what, we were talking about this morning.
Yeah.
I don't even know what day it is half the time. I literally ask my wife probably 2 or 3 times a day, hey, what day is it? Because I know I have appointments, and I just don't know what day it
I
is.
talked to a few agents, and I'm going over my Thursday appointments, and I'm like, "Hey, man, I'll see you today at 3." And I'm like, "Wait, that doesn't sound right. We're supposed to film a podcast because me and him talked." And he's like, "Dude, today's Wednesday."
Are you on the wrong page
Oh.
of your calendar?
Oh man, yeah, I keep everything on my phone, right? So I was looking for Thursday, but today's Wednesday.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is going on? I almost never know what day it is. I'm telling my wife, like, hey, in 2 days we're leaving, right? She's like, no, we leave tomorrow. Like, what do you mean? Like, this is great, but it's 16 hour, you know how it is, man.
Oh,
16
yeah.
hour days,
you
running
quit,
here.
you
talking
quit your
to
9 to 5
people.
job from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed job.
Yeah. I work
You're
all
like,
shifts.
you're laying in bed, thinking about, what do I have to do tomorrow? Like, you're already working tomorrow when you're laying in bed today.
Pretty much.
That's what happens.
That's
I mean,
life.
that's the whole
Yeah.
thing. And then you wake up, like, so for me, when I wake up in the morning, I have to, like, drink a cup of coffee. And I sit there, and I think, okay, what do I need to do today? Like, what do I need to accomplish this much today?
Do you write lists?
So we're
No.
talking about being older. I'm telling myself a little bit. Started to write lists
Okay.
because I now forget,
Mhm.
and I don't want to accept it. I don't want to accept that I forget. Like, because when I was younger, I remember everything.
Yep.
Now, like, I don't remember what I said an hour ago. Like, you know, I'll be.
As you're saying that, I just remember what my dream was from last night, and I never dream. But last night I had a dream that I was locked up with Dan Pena.
Oh,
dude,
I'm sorry.
love that guy, man.
I don't
love
know
that dude.
why, but I swear to God, I was in jail with Dan Pena last night.
What did it tell you?
I don't, he was just
What-
bitching. He was just being an asshole. I don't know. I love that guy, but it was the weirdest thing. And,
Well, it worked. You'll be successful right now. I love that guy, man.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know
that's
why I
good.
remember that right now, but I never dream. And that just came to my head right now when you're sitting there talking about your coffee and trying to figure out what's going, like getting your thoughts together.
Well, you know, I actually watched a YouTube short the other day. Just a minute ago, we were talking about all those little short videos, and like I saw one the other day, and it said like successful people make lists.
That's why that's why that came to mind right now.
Yeah, successful people
He's
make
the guy that writes lists.
successful people make lists. They have a list of
Thank you
what
for,
they want
Thank
to.
you for finishing my thought for me.
Yeah, synergy. But they, they make lists and they say, okay, this is what I need to accomplish today. And so, anyways, back on
He
track
also
here.
says, being successful is like being pregnant.
Yep.
Everybody congratulates you, but nobody knows how many times you got fucked.
No, Dan Pena says that. It's so, and he says it in front of his the castle class or
Yeah.
whatever that he takes to the
I love
castle.
it.
Right?
I love it.
It's pretty, yeah.
That's
great though,
isn't it?
Comments about pregnancy.
Yeah,
so no, I
that was
vote no.
awesome. You got any comments you can speak into the
Yeah,
mic?
throw it in there, no?
I just don't think men should make comments about being pregnant until they can experience it for themselves.
No, well,
They have no
so
idea
this
what
fixing to
we-
get controversial here. So
Yeah.
listen, we do experience it.
No.
No,
no,
wait,
sir.
hear me though, hear me, my wife's gonna get me for this. We do experience it. We don't experience it in the same way, but we do, because we experience it with you. And that's an experience all in itself.
Hold on. I got one better.
Oh God.
Men that pass kidney stones is just
So
like
I've had,
having a
no,
baby.
no,
So we know
no,
what the pain
that's
is
a
like for any
scientific
man that's-
fact.
There
So
you go.
I've had 3 kidney stones,
Thank you.
and it's
Thank you.
terrible. So first
like
one,
your
no,
back is
listen,
falling
this is,
apart.
I told you we were gonna get off topic. Listen, first one I had, right? It's like 5 in the morning, all right, and I wake up, and I'm like, oh my God, my side hurts so much, and I get up and I start pacing, and my wife's like, you okay? I was like, no, and she's like, you wanna go to the hospital? I was like, yes. Dude, I didn't know, never had one. Never really even studied it, didn't know anything, so I go to the hospital. Dude, I'm laying there, like, just rocking, because there's nothing else you can do.
No.
So, like, I've never had morphine, and they gave me morphine.
Good for you.
No, so, no,
Jesus.
listen. They give me, they give me tramadol first. And dude, I feel it still. And they give me morphine. And I'm like, when is this gonna kick in? It still hurts. And I remember, like, my mom's a nurse. So she calls a nurse in there and she's like, hey, he's literally writhing in pain. And so they gave me, morphine didn't do anything for me. And so they gave, no, seriously, so they gave me Demerol.
Oh, there you
And I remember this, I go, when is this gonna kick in? It's like, dude,
Just-
immediate,
just like that,
just,
wow.
like that, and so, yeah, bro, and they're bad, I've had a couple of them, and the nurse was like, I'm gonna need you to pee in a cup. I was like, I can't pee. And she's
Yeah.
like, if you don't pee in a cup, we're gonna have to catheter you. And I said, give me a few minutes, we're gonna work a little bit up, because, we'll get a catheter, and so, gosh, man, it's
It's
bad.
whole back, man. I had back issues my whole life, so when I had it, I thought it was my back. Just
Yeah.
hurting really bad.
Yeah.
And then I realized too that, like, I couldn't get up for like 2 days.
Yeah.
Like, I was sleeping on the floor in my living room because I couldn't get up to go to the, to my room, right?
Yeah.
And then I went to the bathroom and it was like peeing razor blades, bro.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm talking about.
It
Right there.
freaking hurt.
The worst
man.
part about a kidney stone is not being able to pee. Like
Oh.
straight up, like when
Or
you try to
clogs
go
you
pee
up.
and you're just like standing there, you're like, you know you have to, but you can't go.
Yes.
I think that's worse than the pain.
Yeah.
Like
that's-
now that we're talking about
Yeah.
kidney stones, not
Yeah.
being an entrepreneur, but we push through it. You
Just
know,
like
it's
entrepreneurship,
just
you
like an
push through
entrepreneur,
it.
you push through it. You know, but you know they do compare business to being pregnant a lot. You know what I mean? Because you do have to like, you
well,
have to
we call
create.
self-gen our baby
Yeah.
every
You
day.
have to create a life,
Yeah.
you know, and like, and to be fair,
I
No,
think it's more
men-
comparable to raising a child than being pregnant.
Okay,
That's a better comparison.
sure,
in my
because
opinion.
to be fair, men cannot get pregnant, so we will never know what it is
I
like
wish
to be
y'all could.
It's
pregnant.
2022. Double check your
Men-
book, man.
Men, I'm sorry, birthing people cannot get pregnant.
Let's not get political.
Anyways, to be fair though, men will never know what it's like to be pregnant. That is
Right.
100% true. But we do know of the experience that you go through for what you tell us and what we watch you go through. And most men, like I do care for my wife, like when she was going through it. Like I worked a lot, so I wasn't around as much as I should have been. But we wouldn't have been eating if I didn't go to work.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's that. But you know, man, I remember it's a lot to anything you create. It takes time. You know, a
Oh,
baby
yeah.
takes 9 months before it comes out, and if
Yeah.
it comes out premature, guess what? It's got problems.
Mhm.
Like, and not to, but it does, right? It's got to stay in the hospital most of the time. It's going to have issues, probably some sort, for the rest of its life
Yeah.
from being a preemie. So be business the same way. If you try to push that thing out before it's ready, you're gonna have issues for a long time because you weren't
Patience.
prepared. You weren't, and nobody's prepared for a baby. I love people when they're like,
Oh,
we
we're
just
gonna
we
wait
just
till
want to
that
be
time.
prepared. We just want to like, dude. There's no amount of
At the right
preparation that you
time,
could
that's
do.
right.
Oh yeah, we're done. Like no, there's no amount of
No.
preparation that you can have for
That's
2
why I just
o'clock in
do
the
it.
morning hearing a baby cry. Like I
Yeah.
remember my first daughter like waking up in the middle of the night, like holding her, like rocking her back and forth, like on my
Oh, yeah.
arm. You know, nobody prepares you for that. Like, you know, I mean that's, yeah. Nobody.
My
The
son's going through all
exhaustion.
that right now. He just had his first daughter, so that's what he's experiencing all the first times.
Mhm.
He's enjoying it a ton.
But
For times of no sleep.
Yeah,
To-
no.
to
They
get
have a
to
great
sleep
schedule.
all
They're
night.
helping each other out. The mom, him and the mother, they have a great schedule. They work
Mhm.
well together.
good.
It's good.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Hopefully it stays that way for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
But to get back on topic, so you had a good first flip.
Yeah. Back to
Great,
flipping
great
houses.
first flip. Yeah, it was a great first flip. That led to many more. Which led to hiring people, getting my LLC situated, getting a business bank account. You know, getting. Well, I did my own accounting through QuickBooks, which was horrible. Don't
Mhm.
ever do your own accounting once you're making that kind of money.
You just don't
But,
have time for it.
Yeah, don't do QuickBooks either. I don't like QuickBooks.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I like
What do
QuickBooks.
you use
Myself.
yourself?
I like QuickBooks.
I'm really
Spreadsheet.
bad at math. I'm really bad at math.
I
so-
like the QuickBooks because you can send a receipt and they can pay it right there,
Yeah.
and then it tracks, it sends it back to your bank account, like because I had it for my apparel business, you
Mhm.
know,
Yeah.
back in the day, and then I don't know, it's just like $50 a month for what?
Well, I had the pro because I did the bids. I did all my bids through.
You can do
QuickBooks.
you can do invoices and
Invoices
estimates
and
through
bids and
QuickBooks.
estimates,
It's a
yeah.
more all-in-one. Like it now has your bank account. You can actually bank with QuickBooks now.
Yeah, yeah,
So
I had all
it's
that.
actually like an all-in-one. I mean, it's come leaps and bounds from
Yeah.
times. It's terrible that
Maybe
you
it
get a bad
changed.
taste in your mouth for something, and you just never try it again. You know.
Just try mouthwash.
Yeah.
The part that sucked for me with QuickBooks was just that after I stopped doing that business, I lost all the information, all the data.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know,
you
all my
lose.
bids, all
So you gotta keep, like,
accounting.
Paying and
Yeah,
paying
that was
and paying,
stupid.
yeah.
I didn't understand that at all. But
So how did you get into? How did you start self-gen?
self-gen. So after the pandemic hit, it was like March, right? March of
2020.
March
20.
2020.
That's
Yeah.
when it was bad.
So right before the pandemic hit, before I had built myself up to having contracts with Open Door and Zillow. So I was working for the private investor, I was working for Zillow, and I was working for Open Door, doing flips. So, and I was, at that time, I was doing like maybe 6 to 10 flips a month. I had that many projects going, like,
That's awesome.
I was doing, my biggest month was, I think it was $160,000 in checks that I received in my bank account, which was really,
Nice.
you know, nice for me. But as soon as the pandemic hit, all draws stopped. And they told us, we're not moving on anything, all work stops. So I think I had 12 guys, I had 3 crews of 4 guys. Everybody bounced out.
This is Arizona.
Yeah, Arizona. Everybody, they had to go find their own work. You know, I was working with subcontractors, a lot of guys that had, you know,
Mhm.
paper and stuff like that. So, yeah, everybody zipped out on me. Went to go find their own work, went back to Mexico or whatever, because that's when the pandemic hit. I had a friend that told me, hey, you know, we were talking, I told him what was going on. He was like, well, hell, I'm going back to sell solar. If you wanna come back and sell solar with me, you know, I think I can get you a job at this place. And I said, well, I'll do anything right now, because there's, you know, everything was at a halt right then. It was like a big deal, so I said, yeah. Then they passed a law that said, if you're, you have to be, if you work for the electric company, or if you're a, what do they call that, essential worker,
Mm-hmm.
you can be out, you know, working. So, the solar companies were considered essential workers, so we were allowed to be out there door knocking. And, I hadn't door knocked.
Did you wear
in
your
years.
mask?
Yes,
Good.
Oh, in
Good.
Phoenix.
yes,
When people used to knock on my door, I'd be like, you wanna talk to me? You take that shit off your face.
yeah. Well, yeah, in
And they'd be
Arizona,
like, excuse me?
yeah, in Arizona, people took it pretty serious. Pretty
Yeah.
serious.
So
Yeah.
I'm always, the reason
They
I
do
ask is I'm
everywhere.
always curious about that, because believe it or not, in Missouri, like we live in Southwest Missouri. No, bro,
That's
nothing.
why I moved here.
Nothing slowed down. Like we were actually busier than ever in construction.
Mhm.
Like literally, like people, they started to like make you put your mask on, but like
Dude, we lived in Vegas, and
Oh.
so check this out. So I go shopping today, and the cart of food was like $200.
Mhm.
I'm like, all right, it was me, my wife, and 2 kids, right? We didn't have a little baby at the time. I went next week, it was like $250, same food. Like, all right. Like 2 weeks later, it was like $350. So my food bill went from like $700 a month
Mhm.
to like $1,500 a month.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And I looked at the wife, I was like, we need to move. And she's like, okay, so we started looking for a house and we moved here. And then I came here, nobody wears a mask. I'm like, oh my God. And in Vegas, I used to conceal carry all the time, right?
Mhm.
And my license and all that. And I would go into the store and they would chase me down. Sir, sir, they're like running after me with like a little Ziploc bag with the disposable mask in it. And I'm like, I can't wear a fucking mask. I'm carrying a gun.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter. I'm like, you better look at the cameras, you know, like, record this conversation, because if I get arrested because your ass made me wear, because you can't conceal carry or wear a mask.
Mhm.
Dude, I was like, we came out here and it was just a completely different world, man.
Yeah.
And I was like, yes, I
I
love
wish I
fucking
would've known about
Missouri.
that loophole.
Yeah, man, I was like, man, I came here and I was born again.
Yeah.
I swear to God, so much freedom, do whatever you want, stores, nobody cares.
Mm.
Open carry state.
it,
I
it
love
only got
Missouri.
bad. It only got bad here, like stupid like that, for I don't know, maybe like 2-3 months. Like
Yeah, I would
there was a
say it
time where
was
they only
nothing
let
in
like
there.
100 people into Home Depot at one time.
God.
And, like
Oh
it was,
my God.
you know, but it wasn't very long, and
Yeah.
like everybody here is like, no. Of course, you do see like, even still today, and it's their right, but you still see the occasional person wearing their mask in their car alone, and I'm just like,
You mean Biden voters? That's how I identified in Missouri.
but you know, like, and so like, we're getting all way off topic.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
gonna end
yeah.
up on something way off again. So you started self-gen, right? So you moved to Missouri when?
So I came out here about a year ago, a little over a year ago, in I'm gonna say in August probably. But I came out here to work to train us and work with a bunch of setters from another solar company. It was called, I won't even say their name, but they were through, they were working through a national installer that I was working and training with too. So that's what I was doing, is I was flying around to different small dealerships. I was training their sales solar guys on how to set appointments and close deals, solar deals basically. Teach them, the contracts, teach them about the equipment and how solar works basically. Am I in there? Okay. And so we were here for in August for about 10 days. We set probably about 50 appointments. And then the solar company decided not to pay the motel. So they didn't have the money to pay the hotel. So everybody went home. And I put a note in the back of my head to come back to Missouri as soon as I could. Because one, I love the energy. Two, I had set more appointments in the shortest amount of time I had ever done before. And every conversation that I had with every homeowner that I met was a good, positive conversation. And I've sold solar in 12 different states, just off the top of my head. And this was the best reaction to my pitch that I had ever had. So when I got a chance, the next solar company I flew to and was working with, they asked me if I wanted to do a blitz or asked me my opinion on where we should blitz. I told them Joplin, Missouri, and they asked me to run the blitz, and I said sure. They paid for flights, paid for food, paid for hotels, got us down here, and we killed it.
Is that the previous solar companies too?
Yeah, the previous solar company that I was with, my whole career in the solar industry has been working for other solar dealerships. And after the last company that I worked with, I decided if I ever get a chance, I'm just going to try to get my own dealer agreement with my own installer, thinking it was going to be the national installer that I had been working through the whole entire time. But when I finally made it back to Missouri, my deals that I had sold with the other solar company hadn't been installed and were still far from being installed. We're talking about the timeline was about 6 months from sale to install is what they were telling me.
And that's frustrating as an entrepreneur that we get paid. Now we don't get
Right.
paid from
Solar
hourlies.
salesmen are 1099. They don't get paid until it's installed.
Yeah,
And you'll be lucky to find a company that pays you an upfront of anything, when you sell it, to hold you over till install.
and that's the biggest thing is like and that's the reason a lot of people have steady jobs.
Right.
Mhm.
It's because what do you do in the in-between times? What do you do when the money isn't coming in? And it's super tempting to go get a job.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it really is. Like, even to work nights at McDonald's, just something. So, your kids you can, give 45 cents for some ramen noodles.
Sales is not for the weak-hearted.
It's
You
not.
have to be prepared for the hard times. You have to know that no matter how well you do this month, next year, this year, whatever, there is going to be a point in time where if you haven't prepared properly, you are going to be down.
You're going to be broke.
You're going to be broke.
Yeah.
Sales
It's possible
industry.
if you don't protect yourself, you will be evicted. Like, you
Well,
will lose everything.
I'm talking to, there's an older gentleman at Home Depot, and we were talking about sales. And he said, I learned that when I would sell, I forget what he sold, but he would always put back a little bit. And so that way, when times got hard, they always had a little nest egg, that they could live on.
Mhm.
And you have to think like that because, man, you might kill it for a while. But, even in a town of, I think we have like 60, 70,000 people, like, it's still hard.
Mhm.
You think 70,000 people. Yeah. It's still hard.
Yeah.
Because the way, especially now with inflation and with the way money is and the way taxes are, like, if you're not cutting, like with solar, they get a 30% income tax credit. That's
Right.
great.
Yeah.
But if you didn't have that, good luck trying to sell solar to people.
Well, I mean, I have to disagree with you a little bit there because even without 30%, you're saving right off the bat. And you're cutting your kilowatt cent per hour a ton just by switching over to renewable versus taking whatever the utility company is sending you. You're paying for them to transfer the power, you're paying for them to, build their solar farms, you're paying for them to
Even
have
without
nice
having
fancy-
solar on your house.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
If you don't have solar on your house, well, then you're paying the bills of the executives that are, you know, every time they want to build something, they just tack a 2-cent fee to your bill, and
Well, you know, and it's a push for everything to be green energy now. You know, and I think the part that we miss a lot of times with people pushing electric cars is that, you know what's going to do the electric grid?
Well, California right now, what's it doing to California's electric grid? They can't charge their cars.
right
They say you can only charge your car from, I don't know,
from a certain time.
yeah,
right?
from like 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. or something like that.
Right.
Or, you know, they just shut the power off. Don't open your fridge for the next 6 hours.
Well, it's super
you know?
hot. It does, and they had a heat wave too,
Yeah.
and so like they had to conserve the energy.
They cycle it, so they do that every evening, they cycle it for 30 minutes.
Get in here.
I was just saying that they cycle the energy, so they shut off power at least 30 minutes every evening. So
Yeah.
they're already.
And that stuff's moving. I mean, like it's coming this way. I mean, you have so many migrant people from California that are
Right.
moving to places like this.
Or Arizona, or
Yeah.
Nevada.
Oh yeah.
Well, and the problem is that like, I hate to say it like this, but we're different states, we're different mindsets. You know, I talk to a lot of people who have lived everywhere, and they'll tell you like, this is the best place to live.
I love
Because,
it.
you know,
Hands
so my
down.
wife was in Florida here a while back,
Hands down.
right? And
Yeah.
Florida's a great state. I love going to Florida. But she just did something that was a normal thing here. I don't remember what it was. She like held the door for somebody or like smiled at them or whatever, and they were like, "You're not from here, are you?" And she's like, "No, I'm from Missouri." And she's like, the person was like, "I can tell because you're just so nice and so sweet." Like we just have we're just, you know, like you said, like people invite
Man.
you into your house, like
Mhm.
it's
I
in-
speak this constantly to everybody I talk to that isn't from Missouri about how it is. The energy in Missouri is just different. The people are different. The atmosphere is different.
Mhm.
There's not a rush to live here.
Mhm.
Everybody's like, take your time.
You get a culture shock when you
Right.
move here. Like I would
Right.
drive little 2-lane roads, or
Mhm.
backcountry roads, and
Oh,
everybody's
yeah.
waving. So I was like here for 3 days. I come from Vegas.
Yeah,
This
that's
was-
a threat in Vegas,
Yeah,
right?
this was my experience in Vegas, right? I was stationed in Okinawa, Japan,
Okay.
for 4 years as a
Wow,
Marine,
okay.
right? And over there, dude, everybody's so nice.
Yeah.
It's illegal to honk a horn. Right?
Yes.
You can't stress people out and all
Right.
this stuff. So I come here, I fly in, and I was moving my stuff from California to Vegas. So I fly in like 27-hour flight, like ridiculous, right? 2 days up, straight up. Fly in, go hook up a trailer and get ready for the morning so I can drive to Cali and pick up my stuff. And I mean, I slept like 3 hours. I get up, get in my truck, and I'm getting on the highway. And I'm literally, you know, like the oncoming lane onto the highway, it goes from 2 lanes into one and then emerges into the highway.
Yeah.
So I'm going with a trailer, and this guy's like honking the horn at me, passing me up, and then when he passes me up, cuts me off, and then he flicks me off, right?
Yeah.
Welcome to Vegas.
Yeah.
right?
That sounds
I
like.
come here, I'm driving on the backcountry roads, and I'm like 3 days in Missouri, man. Everybody's like waving. I'm like, who do I know here?
Yeah.
Like, who do I know? This
Yeah.
is crazy. But that's why I love Missouri, man.
See, and
Missouri
that's
is like,
me.
Uh-huh.
Like,
I
that's
would
me. So I
never-
lived here in Northwest Arkansas. That's the only 2 places I've ever lived. So like to me, that's normal. Like
Yeah,
we
yes.
wave at everybody,
Yeah.
I love
right?
it.
You try to
That's
be,
the way you should be.
and you try to be nice to everyone.
That's the way you should be.
Like I've never been, like I've been on vacations and stuff. And gosh, on vacation, like I'm not trying to get to know people, right? I'm trying to get
Yeah.
away from people. Let's
Yeah.
be honest. Like, you know, when you're on vacation, like you're just like, please don't talk to me. You know, like I just want to go chill on the beach, chill in my hotel room, sit in the hot tub, whatever. You know, I'll talk to you if we're sitting there, but like I'm not gonna go out of my way. Like here, like to me, you hold the door open for people. I'm talking like I've held the door open for like times where, let's be honest, I want to just slam the door on the next person that was fixing to walk in and be like, you hold it.
Your turn.
But yeah, but you know, like to me, that's what you do. Like
Yeah.
if people are coming in, you hold the door open.
it's a nice thing
Like
to do.
that's a normal thing. It's called
Yeah.
being courteous.
Yeah.
So, like to listen to people that are in different parts of the country be like, no, that's not what people do. I'm like, that's so foreign. It's like out of the movies to me, if that makes sense. Like I'm like,
Well,
wait, people don't like.
No.
People
Right.
don't say things, and yeah, that's what you guys.
They
When you
don't.
guys tell me that, and it's almost unbelievable to me.
okay, so the city
There's no
life,
manners.
right? the city life, let me explain to you why people are like that in the city. They're always stressed.
Because
They're always running late for work.
God, it's so
Their
expensive
neighbors are
though.
freaking assholes. Like I lived in Vegas, like I hated my neighbors. There was
Yeah.
2 houses on the block I got along with. Everybody else, it was literally like, wait, why is this guy, he's 30, right? He's at home all day long, working from home. I'm going to this job. Like I get out in the morning, all the driveways are empty. Everybody's going to a job.
Right.
I was starting to become entrepreneur, right? I'm like, I work from home. So the hate started. They wanted to, like I was so stressed living there because they called Nevada, state of Nevada on my house. Why am I doing mechanic work in my house? Then they called the HOA, right? Why is he doing mechanic work in his house? Does he have his licenses?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, why do you care?
yeah.
That's right.
Why do you fucking care?
That's what I want to know.
So like you get out there and you come on a light, some jackoff is on his phone, the light turns green, there he goes, he's not moving. You honk the horn, it changes back to red, he flies to red, now you're stuck at a light. So people are just so stressed out, man. It's everywhere you go is just nothing but stress. Everywhere you go, like you go into the stores, whatever, the restaurants, just TVs everywhere. Like there's no quiet.
Yeah.
Right.
Like out here, man, I live on 24 acres. Like this morning I got up, I was like, I got 2 hours, go cut some wood, grab my chainsaw, bro. Dude, I'm just out there by myself, nobody bugging me, nobody chasing me, nobody honking horns at me. I do whatever I want, right?
Yeah.
So you're just so relaxed. So when I see the next person, I don't hate him. I'm like, hey, I haven't seen nobody in like 2 days. Like, what's up, man? How you
There
doing?
you go.
know?
There you go.
In city, man, everybody's so crowded, and it's crazy. I just can't imagine living in the city again. And that's why everybody, the stress level is so high. That's why, everybody's assholes and shit.
I just think about, the other night where I'm coming home and it's 5 o'clock and there's nobody on the street. I'm like, there's barely any traffic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm headed home back to the house.
Yes.
It's cool. It's quiet. It's calm. I'm like, this
So
is
I'm the
way
ignorant
better than.
guy here. Like, so obviously I've seen movies about people in California and that. Are traffic jams like really that bad? Like you sit in traffic for like hours on
I mean-
There's a car accident, yeah.
Bro, Chicago. I lived in Chicago.
So I've
okay.
driven
8
through
years.
Chicago.
Yeah.
So my school was 25 miles away. Now this office from my house is 30 miles away. It takes me 30 minutes to get here, right? In Chicago, my school was 25 miles away. During the traffic hour, 2 hours and 45 minutes.
That sounds about right.
3 hours, 4 hours. If there's an accident,
What time did you get on the bus?
bro, it's,
You have to prepare.
dude,
When I lived in the
It's
Bay Area,
insane.
we got stuck. I've been stuck on the Bay Bridge for 3 hours because of an accident, and we've only gone 2 miles. So you just get used to it.
Yes.
You get used to being in your car. That's what you get used to, is living. The
freaking-
quality
that's
of
it.
life is different because you're in your car
consistently.
and you're living in that space.
So you want to have a nice car.
No,
Man.
well, you want a car that's
Man,
gas
it really
efficient.
is.
That's why California's always on gas efficiency, because everybody's in their cars, and gas is so expensive. They're trying to make sure their cars are efficient.
That's crazy.
Dude,
But
it sucks.
so
You get used
so
to
you have
it.
self-gen, right? So what's probably the hardest time you've ever gone through as somebody who's trying to change their life? Like, where's one moment that you remember where you had to say, okay, not necessarily these words, but I have to change my mindset here. Like I have to readjust and reset and change my mindset to push through this issue that I'm going through.
Well, the most recent one would be when I actually got evicted from my house while I was doing solar because of not being responsible with my finances, buying things I didn't need, and sending money to people that I shouldn't have sent money to, kids mostly, children. But yeah, where I had the best quarter of my life, I made like $114,000 in 3 months. It was the second quarter of the year, and by the end of the next quarter, I was looking for a place to live, moving out of my house because I wasn't able to pay the rent because I bought a boat, I bought
Nice.
all kinds of guns that I shouldn't have bought, like custom
'Cause
guns.
You always figure, well, if I had this good of a month, it's gonna keep coming.
That was my mindset, exactly.
Mhm.
I was like, I'm doing so well, and everybody's, you're number 3 in the office. You're amazing. You're great. You're doing such a good job. I'm like, man, I'm really good at solar. Like,
Yeah.
this is a God-given skill. I'm always gonna have this skill, right? Like, I should be good no matter what. Like, if I can make $5,000 to $10,000 a deal, and all I have to do is talk to a couple people a month, like, shoot, I'm gonna be good. But it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that.
Because those leads run out.
You have great
Even
months.
organic leads.
Yeah, well, knocking on doors. You have great months, and then you have those months where you don't have anything. And I was dumb enough to spend those paychecks as soon as they came in because I thought they were going to continue to come in.
Mm-hmm.
But I made a bunch of wrong moves. I decided to move solar companies with another guy who was leaving the solar company because he was disgruntled, and he was able to convince me that going with him to a new solar company was going to be the best. And I followed suit, and I paid the price for it. I went to a new company that didn't have the same kind of credibility or customer base, and it was really hard for me to get deals, to convince people to sign up. And I went months without getting deals, and I ended up getting evicted.
So what did that do to your mind? Like, what did you have to change in your mind? Like, because I'm sure you probably.
I went through a huge depressive state.
Okay.
Huge depressive state because my kids saw me go from here to me telling them, guys, you gotta take this as see what's happening to me and take this as a lesson. This can happen to you. Start saving your money now, because they watched me go to expensive steak houses and on the boat every weekend and doing stupid things because I thought I was gonna always have money like that.
Mm-hmm.
And they were the ones helping me move out of my house when I got evicted. And I was like, can I bring some of my stuff to your house? Can I bring some stuff over to your house? And that was the worst feeling ever. Having your kids watch you go from.
So why'd you decide not to quit though? Because being an entrepreneur, we have those times,
A lot of people quit.
Our second episode is called "Don't Quit."
Yeah.
That's a perfect opportunity for you to quit. Why did you not quit? Why did you not just go get a normal job where you knew that your budget was, you could budget your money? Like, okay, I'm gonna have.
Well, I could have went right back into doing flips right there if I wanted to. I could have. I had the opportunity to, but I didn't want to be working 16 hours a day again. When I was doing my own flips, I was making good money, granted, but I was working 7 days a week, 16 hours a day. And every Friday was a shit show, having to drive from project to project to project, having tens of thousands of dollars on me and have to pay people's paychecks like that. I never wanted to go back to doing that again. And I knew solar was just getting better.
Mm-hmm.
I just needed to find the right people. I needed to find the right company, the right installers, someone that, would see my talent and my worth, offer me a job and a decent red line, because after that, I started learning a lot more about how solar salesmen get paid, how dealerships work, how EPCs work, how financing works. I learned a lot, so I decided to be a little bit more surgical in my moves, and I was going to find the right company, and try to deal with the right people or find the right people, but that took a very long time.
It's so important.
Yeah.
Culture is such an important thing. The culture of the people that you work with
Correct.
is such an important thing. You have to work with people that build you up,
Yeah.
that call you on your crap, and say, hey, like, knock it off. We do it to each other all the time.
Yeah.
Because we have good months and bad months. Like, I'll call him, or he'll call me and be like, man, how's it going? I'll be like, dude, I'm having a terrible morning. And he'll be like, like, it's going to get better. Like, it's fine. Like, he'll encourage me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Or if, like, we're doing something stupid, like, hey, dude, you need to knock it off. Like, that,
Yeah.
you're doing too much. Like, calm down a little bit.
Yeah. I came from, I never really had a large social group of friends. I was adopted when I was a child, so I was born into a community that wasn't really mine. I don't want to say it wasn't mine, but it became mine. But let's just say I was a sore thumb. I was the thumb that stuck out. So my journey through life has been super complicated, and I make it more complicated for myself because I like to be a loner. Now I like to be a loner, or I've been so used to being a loner, now I try to stay to myself. And that was something that I had to learn, to open myself up to listening and allowing other people to come in and affect my, what do you call it, my focus. Like, give me the right focus, different things to focus on, better things to focus on, because I didn't know anything. I was one track mind, and I was just make money. When you're an entrepreneur, you have to listen to everything.
You
that's
have to
going on.
choose people that you allow to, we say this a lot in church. Like, even if you're a pastor,
Mhm.
like most pastors that I know, they have about 5 people that they allow to speak into their life.
There you go.
They have like 5 people that they trust, that when that person says, hey, listen, this is what you're doing wrong, that they listen to them. They don't allow just anybody. You can't allow just anybody into your circle, because there are a lot of snakes out there.
Man, the
Yeah.
negativity,
Yeah.
it will creep up on you.
But
man.
you have to find,
If you
like,
let it.
man, I have friends that, like, literally I talk to, like, once every 4 months. We've been friends for, like, 15 years. And we're still best friends.
Mhm.
And that's the people I consider friends. Like, when I call you, you call me back, or you answer. We'll have, like, an hour-long conversation. We talk about how great the Lord is. We talk about what's going on in each other's lives. So I call them and say, hey, man, I'm really struggling with this.
Mhm.
And I know that conversation is going to stay right there.
Right.
And he's going to say, man, like, I'm praying for you, or maybe try this, like, maybe it's time to change this in your life. Because we get stuck, being an entrepreneur, being a better person is all about vision, and if you try to change that vision a lot, you never know what you're after. You never know what your end goal is.
Well, you gotta stick to something.
You
can't just always change.
right.
You can't try something doesn't work. Oh, screw it! I'm just gonna start something else. You gotta have a
Right.
vision for something, whatever you start.
And you have to be able to cast that vision,
Yeah.
to the people around. That's your
Yes.
culture.
You gotta
That's
make
your
other people.
culture. Whether you're in the same business, you're in different businesses. Hey, listen, we're entrepreneurs together. We're going to the top. We're gonna be stellar, right? We're gonna go to the top. So let's change our mindsets. Let's rid ourselves of the negativity. Like, whatever you need, I want to help you do, because I want to see you be successful. That's part of being successful, is everyone around you
Mhm.
being successful. And I'm the same way. Like, dude, I'm fine being alone, straight up. Like, I'm good. I get that from my dad. Like, I have to times, like, make myself call people and talk to people, because otherwise I won't. And I'll be like a straight up recluse.
I'm working on that.
It's hard.
I'm working on that.
Because people suck.
Yeah.
They do.
See, I was adopted, so I went through. I was a ward of the state as a child, and then my foster parents adopted me, and so I was always like, let's just say it the way it is. I was the Hispanic kid in a white community, very white community, let's just say. So I stuck out like a sore thumb, right?
Mm-hmm.
My dad was a police officer. He was a police officer for like 40 years, retired as a sheriff's officer. And so when things happened in my neighborhood that were bad, people would come and knock on my door.
Wow.
And they would ask my dad.
We got a brownie in the neighborhood.
I swear to God. So there was one gentleman who was actually a famous LAPD officer. His name's Dave Hall. He had something back in the 70s made him famous, but me and his daughter were friends and we were children. And something happened, and I had done something that made him upset. And I don't remember exactly what it was, but he came up to the door and he knocked on the door and asked my dad if the little gangbanger was in there. And it really upset my dad.
So messed up.
Now, granted, he was in LAPD. He worked in Los Angeles and downtown LA, where there was a lot of gangs, and he was
Mhm.
like higher than the gang unit or whatever. But that really upset my dad, because my dad was a police officer. He was a sheriff's officer, LA County Sheriff's Officer. He was at LAPD. So they had some words, and I remember my dad defending me. And of course that always sticks, in my heart, and I always think about that, because my dad loved me. He didn't care if I was biologically his son. He loved me no matter what.
Didn't matter what. Yeah, you were his son. Like,
Right.
It didn't matter what you guys were different colors. Like,
Right.
What the heck does that matter? It doesn't mean
Right.
anything.
But I mean, and that's kind of the way that I feel here about Missouri too, because not one person I think that I've been out here has looked at me or treated me any kind of different way than they would have treated somebody else.
Well,
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like for me, like people are people. So I love it. I love this quote from Martin Luther King Jr. He said, "Let's judge people by the content of their character and not the color of their skin."
Right.
Like if you're a crappy person,
Yeah.
I don't care what color you are. If you're
Yeah.
a crappy person, black, white, brown, whatever, don't be a crappy person. Like I've got friends of all like races, and I don't even see their race. Like we're just friends. Like who cares?
Yeah.
But if you're a crappy person, I don't want to be your friend.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I was
Like,
told because, obviously I'm an immigrant, right?
Yeah.
I was told if I move to Missouri, that I'm gonna regret it, right?
Oh,
I was
yeah.
actually told by somebody here, you shouldn't sell patriotic t-shirts. That's what he told me. He's like, can you imagine somebody comes talk to you and you got an accent? And I'm like, and? People
Yeah.
actually
They did
love
recognize
that.
you served.
People actually love that over here. Like,
Yeah.
dude, I'm on a stand selling t-shirts. People come up, oh, you got an accent, where are you from? Oh, I was born in Croatia, Serbian nationality. And they just like start striking up a conversation. Were you in the Marines? Yeah, I was in the Marines. Thank you for your service. Like, we become like
Yeah.
best friends, man.
Yeah.
And somebody actually told me, because of your accent, you shouldn't sell patriotic t-shirts in Missouri. And I was like, fucking clown.
these concepts, like, and so like these,
Yeah,
like when I watch the
clowns.
news and stuff, these concepts to me, like I said, they're foreign to me
Yeah.
because it's just not. It's not something that like
Yeah.
in I guarantee you in other cities, like bigger cities, right? It's something that I'm not saying that they don't deal with it, right? I'm not saying that
What?
they're with what they talk about. I'm
In
sure that
cities
there was like
everywhere.
one person that something happened to, and so blah blah blah. That's beyond what. But I'm saying like here for me, like you probably got pulled over because you were breaking the law,
Mm-hmm.
and then you were a jerk to the police officer, and then you want to blame him for doing his job.
Yeah.
Like you were speeding. Don't speed, you don't get pulled over. Oh, imagine that.
I haven't been pulled over once since I did get pulled over once already. Just once. And he let me go. No problem. Thank you, sir.
All you gotta do is be nice and polite and don't break the law.
By
Like
far the nicest people here.
Yeah, for sure.
By far. Like,
we love South B Stellar loves Southwest Missouri. We want to make sure that everybody knows that like B Stellar is a Southwest Missouri podcast. Everybody that's here in this room is trying to better Southwest Missouri
For sure.
through being in a small business, through having a
whatever
small
business
business.
they offer, yeah.
So that's kind of and that's obviously the goal of B Stellar is to push young entrepreneurs, old entrepreneurs, people that are trying to make it in Southwest Missouri and all over the United States. If you want to be an entrepreneur, go do it. Like, don't waste time. Like, just start being one. Because I guarantee you, for you, there was probably a little bit of contemplation when you decided that you wanted to be an entrepreneur. Like with the swim thing, right? You were like, I could probably do that. And how did you do it? You just started
I
doing
just
it.
did it.
That's
You
it.
just did it. Like, how do I do it? Okay, Craigslist, boom. I'm just gonna throw it out there. I'm just gonna
Craigslist.
start doing it.
Man, Craigslist is so awesome. I started a mechanic business in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
My first month, I made 10 grand
Oh wow.
on my own. I posted 2 posts, and I just started, people hit me up. I was like, Marine veteran mechanic with 17 years of experience looking for side work. That's all I put on Craigslist post. Got a couple of clients. Before you know it, they're like, I'll send you my aunt, my uncle, my
Yeah.
friends,
Mhm.
and before you know it, I was consistently working 16 hours, like 2 posts. My first month, 10 grand cash.
Yeah.
By the way, I did pay taxes on it.
Well, we got the
Yeah.
37,000 agents, so
Yeah.
be careful.
Be careful what we say.
But that's probably that's probably been about an hour or so since we started.
What, you want to cut it like this?
Dude, probably better wrap it up here in a minute. But man, like, so what's your favorite part about being an entrepreneur though? Like, if you could tell anybody that's considering being an entrepreneur, what is the gratification that you get out of it?
Oh man, I'm not the right person to ask that yet because I'm still working. I'm still
Right.
trying to build. I'm still trying to see what the end result is going to be. You know?
The journey, right?
Right now we're on the journey, and the journey is stressful. Like it's growing pains, it's sleepless nights, it's anxiety.
Trusting the universe.
Yeah, trusting the universe that everything's gonna be okay. Really, I mean, telling myself every day and having people that motivate me around me, but just telling myself every day that this is gonna work. I know it's gonna work because door to door's coming here. There's no two ways about it. Solar's coming to the Midwest. If you haven't gone solar yet or spoke to somebody that's in solar, you're going to. It's happening. The energy crisis is exactly what it's called. It's a crisis.
So people should do the research though before they just go get a solar
Yeah.
company, right?
course.
Because is all solar created equal?
No.
Or are are
So-
there different companies out there that have
Yeah,
different
I mean-
panels? Are like, is there a difference in quality of panel?
Sure.
You know,
Sure,
should
you
they
can
check
go
the
brand name, or you can just go any name that's just
You can order
uh,
them on Amazon. You can order panels on Amazon.
Which I'm sure like little panels on Amazon are fine. Like 'cause we ordered like little like lights, you know,
Right.
like little solar lights on Amazon. They work fine.
Mhm.
But you're talking about powering a house.
right. You're
So-
gonna wanna, yeah, you're gonna wanna use good panels. You're gonna wanna use the right equipment, let's say. But all solar companies, they sell the same stuff, just different versions of the same stuff.
Right.
The panel technology right now, as far as my research has told me, is that the technology isn't going to get much better. The only way the panels can produce more energy right now is by getting bigger in size. And people don't want big, ugly panels on the top of the roof right now, right? Right now, things are as good as they can get. Look at the panel that we use has a 8% degradation after 30 years. So you get 92% efficiency on the panel after 30 years. And the warranty, the manufacturer warranty is 30 years.
Mhm.
You can't get much better than that, you know.
So so obviously which company do you get? So like who do you have solar panels with?
So we use Jinkos, we use UREs, and we use Q cells right now.
Okay.
And actually,
They're
I don't know.
Brady
I don't know if this is still true, but Q cells are the same thing that Tesla uses. They just brand them Tesla panels, but they're made by Q cell.
So and that's a true statement. So one time I went into a baby wipe factory, right? As a like some tour for some reason. Literally all the baby wipes were being made were different companies in the same factory.
Same factory.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I learned that about apparel.
This blew my
So you
mind.
have like, so you have like 3 or 4 t-shirt companies that make a basic t-shirt. And then, you know, next level, Bella Canvas, Gildan, they all buy, you know,
Right.
millions every day,
Right.
right? They brand them theirs and then it's pretty much
It's the same shirt, though?
t-shirt. It's just different. Yeah, dude, it's just, I've learned that. When I got into the apparel industry, I was like, oh my God, like everything's the same. So you buy a t-shirt in Walmart for like $7, or you go online and buy it for like $60. Probably same supplier that started the t-shirt sold it to both companies.
Right.
It's just, yeah, that's,
So with solar though, probably with any industry, if the main solar companies that are selling are kind of selling the same things, then probably what you want to look for is service, right? You want
I
to
would
look for,
think so.
you know, because here's a problem I ran into as a contractor. Did some work for a gentleman. And honestly, I could probably need to call him. I didn't roof his house, but he had solar panels up.
Hmm.
And we were remodeling one of his rooms. I said, hey, well, you know, try to fix your leak. So we sealed some. I just slowed it down. But I climb up in his attic and find where the leak is. Guess what? It's under the solar panel. As far as
Who
I
do you
know.
call?
So yeah, exactly. So as far as I know, the solar company never came out to pull the panel up. You can't get, you know, solar panels are 5-6 inches off the roof, maybe. Like I can't crawl under that. Like
Yeah.
I'm not that small.
Right.
You know, like how do I fix this leak? You know, so if you're looking for a solar company, try to do your research a little bit. Ask them these questions, like,
Definitely.
you know, hey, so what happens if I do have a roof leak? Do you come remove the panel? Does it cost me extra to have the panel removed?
Right.
Right.
Usually about 25 to $50. But if you have insurance on your panels, which usually costs about 80 to 150 bucks a year, homeowners insurance that is, that covers the removal and the
So you can just get
replacement.
homeowners insurance for your solar panel.
Correct. And that covers
That's
the
cool.
removal and the replacement. Yeah.
Well, and also, obviously, the same thing as like roof, hail damage, things like that. So
Correct.
get all your solar panels replaced.
Well, and then a lot of the panels, you know, they're resistant to hail to up to like 1.25 inches or something like that. So
Yeah.
you can, I've seen videos of panels being run over by trucks and they're still good. They're made out of the polycrystalline or monocrystalline materials, so they're flexible, but they do have glass on them. The one good thing that I do know about panels is that when they shatter, the striations actually help produce more energy. So when they're all shattered and like this,
Really?
yeah, because of the reflections and the refractions,
Because it's gathering sunlight.
and scattering sunlight and reflecting
Maybe greenhouse,
reflecting off of those.
the old greenhouse effect inside of a
that's
solar
crazy.
panel.
Yeah,
That's science, people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Science.
they just don't look very attractive. But
Why's your solar panel up there broken? Just trying to get more energy.
that's right.
Okay.
But
Well-
there's a lot of solar companies out there. But my main goal is to the homeowners to make sure they understand the difference between a solar installer and a solar sales company. A solar sales company, like a lot of the companies out here, they're just sales companies. They're just sales organizations that sell you the loan, and then they hand the project off to a third-party installer. You know, usually it's a guy that doesn't have anything on the side of their truck, or a local electrician or whatever. But you never really know who's doing the install, and then after the install, who do you call if there's something wrong with it, with the workmanship, with the roof, or with the panels or the inverter? Who do you call? Usually you would call the solar company, but if the solar company is using a third-party installer, there's going to be a lot of miscommunication there. There's going to be a lot of communication issues, and so that's why I would suggest people use an all-in-one EPC installer like Solera, which is, we do everything in-house. Anybody that touches your project, they wear a Solera shirt and they're, held to the Solera standard. And our projects move faster than most of the projects from these other sales companies, because everybody that deals with your project is in-house.
Okay.
So when
That's
you
great.
call, you get a direct line to, whoever's.
You're not chasing, so, well, it's the installer's fault. No, it's the solar
Right.
panel's fault, guys.
And I've sat with so many people in Joplin, and they're all like, well, we were gonna go solar, but the communication just wasn't there. They never called us back. They never answered our questions, It's hard to get a hold of them. And that's not us.
So how hard it is to sell a house that has panels on it? Cause in Vegas, I actually had to take a cut like 15,000, cause like they were bidding for my house.
Uh-huh.
So where we started, they were like, "Hey, we'll give you 10 grand more," and the other guy was like, "We'll give you 15 grand more over the asking price." And then when they found out that we had solar panels on the house,
Mm-hmm.
they both backed out of the deal, and we have even solar.
Right.
So it was the hardest part was to sell the house with the solar panels on top of it and taking over that extra contract.
Were you through
Yeah.
Sunrun? Were you
Vivint.
through Sunrun or Vivint?
Vivint, yeah.
So
Yeah.
unfortunately, Vivint sells what's called a PPA, a power purchase agreement, which is called a lease.
It's a lease.
Uh-huh.
So you don't own that system.
Mm-hmm.
Vivint owns that system.
Okay.
Vivint received the tax credits on that system. You didn't.
Okay.
Okay. So when it comes time to sell the house, yeah, PPAs are a bitch to get out of. Really.
No, it was like they didn't want to do anything with the house because you had those solar They didn't want to take
It's
an
'cause
extra
it was a
contract.
lease. It
Right.
Okay.
wasn't a purchase. Like our clients through Solera, they're purchasing.
Right.
We don't really
So
do
that's-
leases.
We do
so
have
it-
lease options available, but those are usually only sold to people who can't take advantage of the tax credit. Retired people, older folks, people that don't have, yearly taxable liability, which works for them, but for someone with taxable liability,
Yeah.
you would wanna own the machine, that way you get the credits.
Mhm.
And so, but that's the wool that they pull over your eyes, is the guy that sold you that told you that the lease was the best thing, right? It only increases
just-
2.99% every year, right?
That's exactly what it was.
Exactly, I know, I
That's exactly
sold
what
a
it was.
ton of them when I
Yeah.
worked for Vivint,
Yeah.
but, yeah, they're not, that's,
Man.
it's good for them, but not great for the homeowner.
So
Yeah.
it
Per se.
was, man, it was, I mean, our bill was practically nothing.
Mhm.
Like our bill went down in Vegas heat,
Yeah, you get the greatest sun there,
and we
huh?
had like $20 a month, I think,
Yeah.
and we paid like leasing of the solar panels $19.99 a month or
Yep.
something like that.
Yeah.
It was like,
And
we
that's the
literally
difference
paid-
too.
it
is
went
your
from like
lease is
$400 a
less.
month to like $40 a month in the summer.
But
It
you
was
don't,
great.
but you don't own it, and then when you try
Oh, you
to,
don't
on
own
the
it, yeah.
back end, when you try to sell your house, it becomes a pain in the butt.
Mhm.
Well, it was a learning process. Let's just say next
Right.
next
So if you
panels
did
we
that
get,
in the future, you'd wanna buy, not do a
now
lease.
lease. All right.
And
okay.
your monthly payment would be more than $20 a month for.
And then,
Right.
but the answer to your question is though, is that,
It's
the-
actually easier to sell it if you own it.
right, now the statistics are showing that it's easier to sell your house with panels if you have a transferable loan.
Okay.
Transferable loans have been available for like the last 3-4 years, I guess. Then they started making them completely transferable because of all the red flags when it came to selling the home. Now that's one thing that I go into all the time when I'm sitting down with a homeowner is the effect that realtors have on the solar industry. And the spiel is that you can imagine, if you imagine how a realtor makes their money, okay, they don't get paid until the house closes, sometimes a month after the house closes.
Mhm.
So, let's say they spent 3-4 months with the client. If solar is gonna stop or make any kind of issue for that client selling that home or purchasing that home, the realtor is gonna say, don't do it. They're gonna try to shy away from that.
Because they're trying to make money.
Yeah, because they don't want anything to hold it up. And I mean, to be fair, if they did a little research and they understood how the solar industry has evolved since then, got rid of all those red flags that stopped purchases before, they would probably turn to selling solar or at least adding it to their utility belt, because with the way real estate is nowadays, you know, you're gonna make a lot more doing solar right now than you are gonna be making doing real estate, you know, on a little 3% commission. What is that? Is it 6% out here or 3%?
I think it's 6, and then if there's 2 agents
Yeah,
involved, they
so they
split
split,
it 3
yeah,
and 3, yeah.
right.
Mhm.
So,
So, I mean,
and when there's very little on the market, let's say the inventory is low, but, you know,
well, right now,
There's
the
tons
interest
of
rates are
realtors.
gonna, and
They
once that
happen.
happens, man, it's gonna be 2000.
Everybody get ready. Everybody get
Yeah.
ready.
But anyways, this brings us to the close, okay, to the end of the podcast show today, and, can you guys just say the name of your company, both of your names, and how to get in contact with you if somebody's listening to this and they're like, hey, maybe we should contact these guys for solar panels on our house, how do they get in contact with you?
well, we would really appreciate it if you contacted us for solar panels, but our main goal right now is to build and to build a team of solar people, solar professionals. So what we're really looking for at SelfGen is people that are looking to learn how to either set appointments and become closers or just close deals in the solar industry. So if you're interested in selling solar or learning how to sell solar, please give us a contact. Shoot us an email or hit us up on our Instagram at SelfGen LLC, or what's our phone number? 417.
I'll put all the contact
Yeah, we'll
information in the
click the link, it'll
podcast
be at the
info.
bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get the information, we'll leave it in there, you know.
Yeah,
so
but
if
that's
you-
what we're focused
if you-
on right
But if
now.
you do have solar questions, feel free to call.
Yeah,
Mhm. Of
solar
course.
questions or looking for solar, sure, give us a call. But really, if you're looking to sell solar or to learn something new, if you're trying to be an
And they wanna
entrepreneur
work for themselves.
and you wanna work
Yeah.
for yourself, this is a commission-based job, and it's wonderful money once you learn how to do it, so.
So is it just local to Southwest Missouri, or are you guys nationwide?
No, so we are not
Arkansas.
nationwide yet, but we are in 4 different states: Missouri, Arkansas, Indiana, and Kansas. So, yeah, if you're in that area and you're looking to sell, reach out to us. We can get you set up and trained so you can do it yourself too.
Sweet, that's awesome.
Awesome.
Awesome, Be Stellar crew, tune in next week for another episode. Thank you, Travis and Rebecca, for being on the show today, stepping in.
Thanks
We
for
really
having us.
appreciate it.
Thank you
We
for
had
having
a
me.
great conversation. I'm David Wyrick.
Alex Ostojic, and
No.
we'll talk to you guys next week.
Always be stellar.
Don't forget to be stellar. Later.